welcome to the 12th edition of Voices from the Valley. I'm Shereen Bhan. Through the week, you've had plenty of conversation around the magic of AI and what it intends to do for the world. A lot of that conversation is actually happening on social media platforms. But joining me today is a man who's trying to do the anti-social media platform. Akshay Gupta, thanks very much for joining us on CNBC-TV18. Says Us. Take me through why this decision to do an anti-social media platform.
Thanks, Shereen. It's great to be here. The reason we felt the timing was right is because you've reached this moment where every industry goes through an evolution, and there's a chance for us to really build a healthy digital social media platform with real users, having real conversations without a bot environment, without the addiction and the problems that we've kind of seen with current social media. This time was right, and we felt like Says Us was primed to sort of deliver the next
Okay, how does Says Us come about?
So it came about largely with a couple of people thinking about the notion that, you know, social media had gotten pretty toxic. You have all this anonymity and the bots and trolls on the platform. Is it time for something new? And the idea was, can we bring our better selves to the digital world? And last year, prior to the election, the development started, and the alpha version was put out in the market in the fall. So I think we can appeal to our better angels. We believe that we can create an environment where people can actually have a rich, healthy dialogue. And I'm particularly excited because India is, you know, such a massive country with all the opportunity there, with everything that we've experienced in India. So I think Says would be a really, really interesting opportunity for people to experience in a better world. So
who are the investors who are backing the venture?
So we've had some pretty strategic people. One of them is General Wesley Clark. Another is former Minority Leader Dick Gephardt, who ran the Healthy Social Media Council. So they're very interested, highly strategic investors initially that have started. And now we're going through our capital raise process, so we'll see where we go from here.
This is content moderation done very differently.
It is to a degree, but we're not really moderating the content from a Says Us perspective. Right? It is. Inherently, what we're saying is you have freedom of speech, you do not have freedom of reach. And part of the way we've designed the platform is that there's no addictive algorithms. So we're not trying to get that dopamine heat to keep you on there. And there's no way for anything to go viral because we're not putting our thumb on the scale on the content. So it's really the merit of the person with their reputation, their reach, their content, their material that's going to drive whether the material moves forward or not, which is how the real world works. That's how we do things.
So what's been the feedback since you did the beta version?
So it's a very small community right now, and very strategically, we were timing the output, going large. And today is one of the first days we're really actually coming out and talking about it. It's been positive. They like the interactions are very civil. They're not happy. So there's a difference between people being happy and being civil, right? So the discussions on the platform are very civil. You're getting users to interact with the reputation engine, and you're starting to see the basics work.
You know, where do you see it being positioned?
Says Us, think of Says Us as a part of a global ecosystem of social media networks where we are enabling a civil dialogue, and eventually we want to interconnect with other networks. So there is an open protocol that's being developed, a mechanism to actually create a standards committee. It's actually been created, but a standard way of social media to work. So we call it a walled garden. You just gave the example. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, and when you're on them, you're blocked in. The idea, if you look at the way the normal World Wide Web works, is you can go from one website to another. Why can't I or you get on a platform, log in, and be logged in on all my other social media platforms? So there's a protocol called the DSNP. It stands for the Decentralized Networking Protocol.
Okay.
And it's basically built on a blockchain. It's called a frequency blockchain. And you get a single sign-on when you get onto all the participating networks. They all open up to you immediately. And the idea eventually is, as we're thinking down in the future, what happens if my content could propagate? What happens if my users could propagate? My followers? And if I could just, if I don't want to be on this platform, I want to be another one, why can't I just migrate all my material? Why do the platforms own it and own the content? And that's the other key issue we're solving for, is digital self-sovereignty, where you, the user, you own your data, you own your content, you own your followers, not the platform.
The platform's going to let you get away with this, you think?
That's our mission. We're absolutely laser focused on delivering that experience where we want real people, healthy dialogue, and digital self-sovereignty, and I think we can build that world.
So, you know, plans to go commercial, how ready do you feel at this point in time, and when do we see you rolling out?
We're rolling out now. That's why we're talking. India is one of the key markets. That's one other thing. We've put resources on the ground there. So we have dev teams there. We're actually running a internship with a university in southern India. They've got students actually interacting with the platform, working on it with us right now. So I see India as a very critical market. And what I really would love to see is, it's a call out to the creator community to come on to SES, join us, interact with the platform, build your community, and help us design the next generation economic model that we're working towards. So our interest right now is to just get people to come on, and particularly the Indian creator community to come on and just start building this with us. We want to give them their digital rights back.
What's going to be your economic model as far as SES is concerned?
We're not quite ready to disclose all of it right now, but the main goal is it'll follow that thematic stretch of what we're trying to do, bring the user self-sovereignty back, give you, the user, the ability to experience things like, so the basics will never change. It'll be, the traditional ad models. There'll be certain things that are very common, but the way it's being executed will be very skewed to the digital self-sovereignty side and transparency. Because you can't have an open social network without complete transparency. So we intend to make the economic model very transparent.
So how large is the team working on SES today?
It's a tiny little team. We're just, like I said, we're in the transition phase from going from an alpha beta version to a full, to a market base. So we're just starting to build out the team. But we've got dev teams in India. We've got a small dev team here and a senior staff that's, really well poised for this. One of my colleagues who's here with me today has actually been part of Uber. We've got a development, lead of development who's been part of Intel and NVIDIA. We've got a person on our team that's an attorney who's litigated top-end cases and done a lot of startup law. So the team's been assembled. We've got a really solid leadership team, and now it's just building out from here.
So what do you see as the big challenges as you build out from here and roll out commercially? I mean, what are some of the hard, complex issues that you need to deal with?
The first and most foremost is adoption. It's getting people on the platform, getting people to use it, starting to build that community, and really starting to get the notion of the idea to catch hold.
How do you seed it?
We are seeding it, so that's part of what I want to do is start working with some of the Indian influencers to start seeding that piece of it. And then we're reaching out now to vertical groups. So the other thing we've added on the platform is something called groups. So you can actually come in and build a community. So, imagine you've got a book club or you've got a golf group. Here's a way for you to start seeding it, start building your own communities. So we're starting to talk to groups around the world, and I'm particularly interested in India too, is to start building these communities. You can have it private or public, so it's your own private community, and I think that's going to be a key attribute as well.
So India clearly seems to be one of the priority markets for you. What else are you focusing on?
Well, I think the next critical piece is going to be the open social web. So India, obviously, the U.S. presence, we're starting to build that out. And then the global outreach will start. But I think right behind that, getting the open social web working over the next, coming months would be a critical next step for us.
What's been the big learning so far, setting this up and as an entrepreneur?
Patience, determination, and really knowing how to ride the highs and lows of a startup. It's a very different world than a larger company. If, as any of your younger entrepreneurial users get into it, it's like you've got to take the lows and the highs and just know that they're not permanent.
Already got these large platforms that have amassed millions and billions of users around the world. You really think that there is space, there's room for an anti-social media platform? And I keep calling it that because you're everything that social media is not today.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, the reason I say
hoping to be.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Shereen. But, we are up against some formidable players, right? But look at any industry. They've always been incumbent large entities when the moment for change comes. It's the scrappy little ones that sort of change the market, right? And the moment is right because where it's reached this point where they're not solving the problems for the largest sectors of the world's population. And again, it's the definition of success, right? There are 5 billion users of social media worldwide. We don't need all 5 billion to want to have a healthy environment. I don't expect that. But even if we peel off enough people that have got a healthy environment, that's a win. And if we build open social web, that's a win because we're not in it alone. There are other platforms trying to do things and building this idea of hundreds of social media platforms. My hope in India is that when we start building momentum, we create, like potentially would be fantastic if Coup came back and tied, the reputation engine to it and opened up through the DSNP. Like there are opportunities for India to start building its own network.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck, and we hope to hear back more from you as you start to roll this out, and of course, particularly on what takes shape in India, because that's going to be an important market for you. But thanks very much, Akshay, for joining us here on Voices from the Valley. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Shereen. It's been a pleasure.
Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Voices from the Valley, but we are going to bring you a lot more conversation. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. Visit us on CNBC-TV18 Prime, CNBC-TV18 Access, and, of course, join our social media pages and says us as well, as and when they do launch in India. But for now, thanks very much for watching. We'll take a break and be back soon. Now, if you're wondering why I'm in a kitchen while we film Voices from the Valley, here's the interesting story. This machine right next to me is going to do what a lot of people wish or hope or imagine their machines could do, is cook a home-cooked meal. Joining me now on Voices from the Valley is the team behind Posha. It derives its name from portion, and those of you who understand Hindi will know that portion essentially means nutrition. So that's the name origin story as far as Posha is concerned. Let me welcome on to Voices from the Valley the team behind Posha, the actual cooks that have put this machine together, Raghav and Alberto. Thanks so much for joining us here on Voices from the Valley. So we've got the relief cook and the sous chef here from Posha joining us. But great to have you guys. Let's start with what made you want to do Posha? What made you want to come up with this guy here?
So I grew up in a household where love was expressed through home-cooked meals, and I've seen enough people in my family who've had to sacrifice their professional aspirations for providing love to their family through food, and enough people who've actually, who've prioritized their careers and missed that part.
Yeah, given up on the home-cooked food. Yeah,
given up on the home-cooked food, and we did not want to be in a situation where we had to choose between the two. And I think there can always be a world where people don't have to choose between the two, and so we started Posha.
And this was 2017.
This was 2017. And we've been at it for 8 years, and we've been
That's
in
a
R&D.
long time. Yeah.
It's been a long time. It took some patience and persistence to get where we are, but we're finally in homes, in 200 homes. And people are loving Posha now.
So the machine is installed in 200 homes, but largely here in the valley.
That's right.
And what's the order book looking like?
A few thousand pieces. I don't have the exact number on top of my head.
Right.
But a few thousand units all across the US. There's been tons of demand from India, but we aren't shipping to India yet. But hopefully in the next few years, we should have Posha in India.
So Alberto, how did you come to Posha? I mean, what's the story there?
Excellent question. Well, I mean, I've been in like the tech world for 8 years, working on self-driving vehicles. I felt like there is more of a need for people to eat in the Bay Area. Lots of time is lost with working professionals. So I thought this was just the perfect, marriage to have like tech, AI, and cooking all together in one.
So from autonomous cars to autonomous food, but let's get started now, Raghav, and take us through what you're going to be, or what Posha is going to be cooking today, and how all of this works.
Sure. Posha is a countertop cooking robot that helps you and your family eat freshly cooked meals every single day without having to spend tons of time in the kitchen. All you have to do is choose a recipe on the screen of Posha, put freshly chopped ingredients in the bag.
Okay.
Tap cook and sit back and relax while it cooks a meal for you.
Right.
It's got an induction cooktop here. It's got a pan that's removable.
Right.
It's got this stirrer and 3 different kinds of spatulas that get attached to a stirrer.
Okay, depending on what you're cooking.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have an exhaust in the back
Okay.
that makes sure your kitchen stays clean and does not get smelly.
Right.
We have these containers in the back that I just showed you.
Yeah.
This is where all the ingredients go in.
Yeah.
And
So
then-
that part you have to do yourself.
Yes.
The ingredients have to be placed yourself, but you have a spice counter right here.
Yes.
So the spices you don't do any, I mean, you just keep the counter ready and then the machine does the work for
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
Okay.
And then what I will do is I will actually make you cook food on it and
Okay.
interact with it.
Yeah.
So you can experience how easy it is to use Posha.
I'm happy to give it a shot. How many recipes does it come preloaded with?
We have more than 500 recipes right now,
Okay.
with new recipes being shipped out as content updates every single day.
Okay. And can I put in my own recipe if I wanted to?
We have a concierge service. Every time you see a recipe that's not on Posha, you reach out to us via this neat little button on top.
Okay.
You request a recipe, and we have our own in-house team of chefs who create that recipe for Posha,
Okay.
train it how to cook it,
Okay.
because it uses vision and cameras and AI to cook.
Okay.
And it's hard for us to allow a human to do.
Right.
And then it gets live.
Okay.
You
So
might
let's start with what are we cooking today?
So just click on search, and we're cooking like a paneer tikka masala today.
Okay.
So you have that.
There we
top.
go. So I can smell the mushrooms as they're being sautéed, and we're waiting for the next steps to happen. But let's talk about how you managed to get investors to bite into Posha. I mean, take me who's on the cap table.
So our first investor was Shailesh Tulshan. He's the managing partner of Exceed VC. He saw us in 2017 or 2018, I guess. Observed us for about a year and a half. He had run a restaurant himself for
Okay.
some time,
Huh.
so knew about the food tech, knew about how food was cooked and how tech could enable food.
Yeah.
He often told us that, most people believe food is art, but I feel there is a whole lot of science into cooking,
Yeah.
and I feel you're putting like science into food. So, I would
So
love
he
to
wrote the first check.
He wrote the first check. He was also able to convince Binny Bansal, who's the
Okay.
co-founder of Flipkart. To invest in us. Samay Kohli, who's the co-founder of Grey Orange Robotics,
Yeah.
was an early robotics pioneer out of India. He put his name behind us and told us, hey, if you're unable to raise money, go to any investor, tell them Samay is backing us. And if that helps, I'm happy to put my name behind you. So Samay was really helpful. We got Waterbridge Ventures on board.
Okay.
Waterbridge Ventures, we had Manish Khetarpal, who's the managing partner, who sits on our board, and he's been super helpful. In the US, we have Asha Jadeja Motwani,
Okay.
who's the wife of late Rajiv Motwani, who
Yeah.
co-wrote the PageRank algorithm.
Yeah.
And I told you sometime back,
Yeah.
but Asha let me stay in her place in Palo Alto for many, many months, so I could bring Posha to the US
Yeah.
and bring it into the houses of all our customers.
Well, talking about Posha's evolution, it started as a robotic arm and then morphed into this. Take me through why that happened, how that happened.
So we started out with a robotic arm. The problem we wanted to solve was very obvious. People wanted to eat freshly cooked meals every day, but struggled with finding time to do that in the kitchen every single day. We thought the robotic arm would be a natural solution, and who wouldn't? We built the robotic arm, showed it to the customers of Bosch, who happened to be a supporter back in the day, and the customers told us, well, we don't want a robotic arm in the kitchen. A robotic arm
It is kind of weird.
it's super large. It's an eyesore in my beautiful kitchen. It's so hard to clean.
Yeah.
And who knows, it might strangle me if you have like the wrong software update someday.
Yes, you made a bad meal.
You made a bad meal. So clearly people did not want a robotic arm in their kitchen.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, we have, we're on a fork now. We could choose to get this robotic arm into the cloud kitchens out there.
Go B2B, but yeah.
Go B2B.
Yeah.
Or we could stay true to the problem we've set out to solve, which is help families eat freshly cooked meals. We decided to do the latter, but that meant we had to change our product completely.
It's a nice looking box, I have to say. So how did that come about, the design? I mean, who worked with you on designing this?
Everything has been done in-house.
Okay.
So we have a team of talented engineers, computer vision scientists, chefs, marketers, product people who have worked very closely with customers, many of whom are top engineers and product people at some of the best tech companies on the planet. And we've taken 2 years of feedback from them, and that has helped shape Posha today. Posha sits neatly under your counter, and this is the standard size of any cabinet in the US.
Do you see this as we've seen people transitioning to coffee machines, dishwashers? Do you see that is that the hope? Is that the bet that people will make that transition?
So 70% of all US households have a dishwasher installed. 70% of US, and just to compare that to India, it's actually less than 1% in India. Likewise, almost every household has a range. The hope is that very soon Posha will attain what I call built-in status. Posha is already very indispensable in consumer homes. People use it about 3 times a week. 3 to 4 times a week. It's more often than how much they use their coffee machine.
What's the ramp-up plan? I mean, you're manufacturing currently in China. You're hoping to be able to move that to India, but when do you believe that journey may happen?
We're pushing for December of this year. It'll hopefully happen faster. It might take some time, but we're trying to move as fast as we can, to India. To reduce the geopolitical risks we have between US and China.
So what's the expansion plan from here now that you have these 200 households? You're of course working on refining the product. What's the expansion plan from here? I mean, you're currently only selling in a very small area, even within the US.
Correct. So we're only shipping in the Bay Area currently. We're sold out for the entire year. We have a few thousand units worth of pre-orders on our books. That's a few $1 million in revenue. And we're very consciously and deliberately and slowly expanding to other cities now. Some West Coast locations are on the map next, and we're also looking at Texas as a potential location to open up. So we're gradually going from west to east. New Yorkers will have to wait, and Europeans will have to wait even further. But we have
and Indians are going to. Is that even a market that you want to attempt to enter?
Indians are currently. I think India is currently a niche market, as I mentioned. For an established product category like a dishwasher, the penetration remains to be less than 1% compared to like 70% penetration in the US.
Yeah.
So India remains a smaller market for us.
Yeah, because it's not really that big of a problem in India. I mean, one, culturally as well, but two, also in terms of being able to outsource the job to somebody. So.
Right. So I think the way India is designed, so if you look at the map is divided into 2 halves. It's 4 billion people in India and China, and there's 4 billion people in the rest of the world. So India and China have a lot of people, so whenever there's a problem, people can throw people at the problem.
Yeah.
In the West, that's not the case, as you rightly pointed out.
Yeah.
I think that is also the reason that Silicon Valley has flourished so much. And we're on Voices from the Valley. So I think it's very relevant to why the Valley has flourished.
Are you looking at raising more funds? Do you need more capital at this point in time?
We just announced a raise with Accel.
Okay.
Accel is one of the top 5 VC firms on the planet. And we're not raising right away, but if something comes down our line, we would be more than happy to have a chat.
Take me through the investor conversations. How did you get them to bite into spending money on this product?
I think what Accel likes to see in a deal is in a deal at a stage like ours is early signs of product market fit. So do you have customers who can't stop talking about you? Is there high usage? Is there high retention? Are there high referrals? And all those boxes checked for a small base of customers that we had. And so Accel decided they wanted to participate and be part of the story.
Okay, so this is now the key moment of the day. We're going to finally sample what Posha has made. It is the paneer tikka masala. Thank you, Alberto. And I'm going to dig in. It's good.
You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is good. Well, that's the story of Posha. They're trying to automate the kitchen with their robot here. I have to say the food does taste good. Whether this is going to take off just as the way that coffee machines and stoves and Instapots and dishwashers did, time will tell. But here's wishing the team at Posha the very best of luck from all of us here on Voices from the Valley. Bon appetit.